that duck lip still came out. Apparently, it's just the thing. Apparently, they're not going anywhere. I saw it. I saw it. I had mine out too. It's okay. We're in this together.
I was just thinking about yeah, I think my duck lips come out sometimes when I'm like, "Ooh, I meant to start that at 9 seconds instead of 1 second."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's okay. That's okay. It's always something like every week it's like, this is what I can do better, you know?
Mm.
Just like the grocery list. We get home, it's like, dang, we forgot something. Like instead of being mad, just know that every week it's gonna be something on next week's list, like immediately.
Joe caught our episode on YouTube, and
Yeah.
immediately one of the first things he said was, "Y'all have new theme music. I
Hmm.
like it."
Shout out
And
to the
I was
birthday
like, "All
boy.
right. Thank you, thank you,
Yes.
thank
And
you."
we were looking for that feedback, so thank you, Joe.
Right? He was
Yeah.
excited about it. His whole
Good.
body lit up. So,
Good.
the dog seems to like it too, because
Okay.
I play our podcast for the dog when I go out. So,
Mhm. Thank you, Monty. All your listenership, right? I
the
love it.
important listeners,
Hey, and
right?
it is important. It is important to see the body reactions, so I'll take both as great feedback.
Right? You
Yeah.
want to do our official introduction and kick this show off?
Yeah, let's do it. Hey y'all, I am Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial entrepreneur and Amazon best-selling publisher, author, and all-natural product manufacturer. I'm a champion for your natural self-care, sustainable business care, and overall intentional wellness.
Hi, y'all. I'm Christine Gotro, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, published author, and dancing social worker who helps you upgrade your self and community care.
Together, we are a podcast rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness and the co founders of the Women Connected in Wisdom community.
And we like to get together every week for intentional conversations about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness. And we like to bring on special expert guests.
Mhm. Absolutely. And y'all, today we're talking about spiritual wellness, and I'm excited about it. Um, we were talking about it a little bit before the show, how spiritual wellness weaves through everything,
Hmm.
and I really look at it as like it weaves, it definitely weaves, but I also look at it as a foundation, like difficult conversations, things come up. If I'm looking at myself and being introspective in that processing time, right? It's like, why did you feel that way? How do you feel about what you said in that moment? Is there anything you need to follow up with? Is this true? What's true? And how do you anchor down in that? For me, is spiritual wellness. And I think about you and our ladies and taking our still points. When was the
Hmm.
last time I got some outside time? The vitamin D outside,
Mm.
right? Everybody's quick to be like, oh, she needs some D. We need vitamin D, y'all. We need to get outside, okay? Make sure that we're soaking up the sun and getting that fresh air. I know my energy is different. Um,
Mm.
or
I
my
did
journal.
that Sunday after Joe and I went to Zumba on Sunday.
Oh,
And yeah, I'm trying to think, was it Tasha's class?
mm,
Incredible instructor. It's
yeah,
somebody that we don't see as often, but she's a dancer. Like,
yeah,
different instructors have different backgrounds, right?
mhm,
And Zumba instructors, all of them are dancers. So when I say that, let me clarify.
mhm,
She comes from a traditional dance background and she teaches traditional dance and she's a Zumba instructor. So like she just has a clarity of instruction that is mwah. Like I'm like,
mm,
"Ooh, I like that." And so
good,
we went in Zumba together and danced together and then he was doing something. He always is doing something at the gym. I'm like, "I'll meet you out front." And so I went and just sat in the sun. I was
yeah,
like just 10 minutes of
yeah,
sitting in the sun, especially this time of day, because we have passed fall equinox, this time of the year, I should say. We passed fall equinox. And so, for folks that may be affected by
mhm,
less sunshine or seasonal affective disorder,
yeah,
I truly think it's important. Get up
it is,
earlier,
it
sit in
is.
the sun, soak it up.
Yeah, y'all, and there's like vitamin D lamps.
Hmm.
So if you
Hmm.
need some help, there's vitamin D lamps, right? But of
Hmm.
course, original natural light is still better. But we talked about journaling on the podcast the other week, and like being committed to that. So I've started doing that and just holding the non-negotiables. I feel like that
Hmm.
keeps me in a better, more grounded, a clearer place about where I am.
I
What
love
about
that.
you? When you think about what we're talking about today, transcending constructs and
Mm.
spiritual wellness.
and living a soul-led life.
Yeah.
I am so grateful for the life I have.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I can fuss. I mean, absolutely. I think, but
There's always room. Yeah, for
I
opportunity.
have created a life that I love, and
Yeah.
it very definitely is soul led. Like
Mhm.
for years I wrote in my journal, I get paid to play. And I
Mhm.
mean, you look at what I do, and I play with Interplay, facilitate community groups, I do a podcast,
Mhm.
we create books and uplift women's stories. I get to do private coaching with people I adore. Like
Yeah.
I'm I love, and I just got back from a retreat we talked about on the podcast the other day with
Yeah, we did.
Sheila K.
Sheila.
Collins, and you
Mhm.
and I are talking about a Women Connected in Wisdom retreat for
Mhm.
our women, and I just like that is my soul work. Like
Yeah.
creating women's circles has been
Yeah.
my work for a long time,
Yeah.
and I do, and I'll bring this up when our guest comes up, so I'm
Mhm.
fully transparent. But I need to stop and be
Mhm.
still more and
Mhm.
listen more. Like
Mhm.
I've been running a little bit like a hamster on a wheel recently,
Mhm.
and so I know I need to listen a little more.
I
Um,
understand.
I'm really good at asking my clients to listen.
Mm. I get it. People repeat back my advice. I'm like, "I said that? I need to listen to me. That's pretty good. That's pretty good
Right,
boundary, right?" Like, you knew, and I forgot. You know what I mean? So I
right.
get it. Yeah, I get it.
Oh, it's so true. And I
Yeah.
think right now, and we'll have this conversation, I think fully, but
Mhm.
right now, when we're in chaotic times,
Yeah.
when we're in times that are stressing a lot of people,
Mhm.
we've got to be attached to our spiritual wellness. Like
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in hope and something beyond us. And
Mhm.
I was on, oh, I'll tell you this, because I was
Mhm.
thinking about writing a post about it.
Okay.
So I'm car sharing right now with my oldest
Mhm.
daughter who's gone back to school full time.
Right.
And so I car share between my oldest daughter and my husband. And my
Mm.
husband was out of town for business. And the oldest daughter doesn't live at the house. So no car
Mhm.
right
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
And I needed to run some errands this morning and including go to the chiropractor and my wellness. And I wasn't willing to shift it. So I was like, well, I'll Uber. Like
Mhm.
yesterday, I walked. I walked with Monty, and we walked a mile and a half to go check on my friend's animals.
Mhm.
And then at a mile and a half, he let me know he was done because he
Mhm.
was pretending to poo or pee. This
Mm.
is what he does when he's done. He's like, oh, and I was like, well, we're not walking back because I won't make it back in time for my meeting. So
Mm.
I Ubered the dog back. My daughter was cracking up. She's like, what a spoiled dog. He
Mm.
walks until he's done and then you Uber. But for fast forward on the story. I was Ubering this morning
Yeah.
and I ended up being 3 very short Ubers because I didn't have the time to walk to everywhere I wanted to go and still
Right.
make my meetings.
Yeah.
So, first Uber,
Mm.
I get in. I'll first of all shout out to all the Uber drivers. They were all awesome.
Good.
And the first one owns a tow truck company,
Love it.
Aztec Towing, with his
Okay.
brother.
Mm.
I'm like, so why are you driving? Why are
Mhm.
you Ubering? And he's like, well, because I want to pay off my tow truck because the insurance premiums are so high. Really, it came down to the cost of even owning your own business. He was
Absolutely.
supplemented, which you and I know this one well, right?
We could talk about it
So
more, yes.
right? So supplementing his own business. Second Uber driver, delightful man of Indian descent.
Mhm.
He said, I just started driving because I always ask him, how long you been driving? You know me, I'm gonna talk to everybody. And
Yeah.
he's like, I just started driving because I lost 3 businesses. I was a small
Mhm.
business owner and I lost 3 businesses because what's happening in our country and the crackdown on immigration, a lot of
Mm.
his customers are afraid to even shop.
Oof.
And so he lost his businesses. So
Right.
he's driving. He
Right.
very beautiful spirit, hopeful spirit. Third Uber driver, um, all 3 Americans.
Mhm.
Third Uber driver, white, probably 50s. He told me late 50s.
Okay.
Software development engineer.
Nice.
He had lost his business or most of
Mm.
his business
Mhm.
because he had a contract with a big insurance company
Mm.
and they got rid of contracts. They brought it all in house. So
Mm.
they were, and he was struggling, he was piecemealing. So he's
Got it.
driving to
Yes.
gig with his business that he owns.
Mhm.
So I don't know, it was so impactful to me this morning. All three, different backgrounds, different ages, all three small business owners,
Mhm.
all just struggling
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
to put food on the table and pay their mortgages right now.
Yeah.
So I think about that in context to this conversation and spiritual wellness, about weaving the 8 dimensions of wellness together
Mhm.
when our financial wellness may be out of whack,
Yeah.
when we're in tough times,
Yeah.
or yeah.
And I love what you said because it brings me up to what I was gonna say. What we look forward to talking to with our guest here shortly when we bring her up is I am living my dream life, right? You and I
Hmm.
have all the background conversations. We've
Hmm.
had a stack of conversations, the difficult conversations where it's like, I
Hmm.
would rather be in the fun part than in this part, but it's still my dream life. You're
Right.
still brilliant, you know what I mean? I
Right.
still
You
love
too,
doing it. It's
friend.
still thank you so much. But when we look at the whole picture of the dream, it reminds me of this painting I have. It's like a purple beach scene. And y'all, before I moved to the beach, since now I lived here, right? This was me going to the beach, this picture on my
Mm.
wall, you
Look
know.
at you
Um,
manifesting.
I did, and I'm here now. And I see the water every day. I love it. But what I realized in this difficult time, I think my mom was sick and I had my own car, I had a brand new car, had
Mhm.
my own apartment, had a salary job, making more than they said I would make, you know what I mean? But the whole picture, some of it I wasn't okay. My mom that I had just met after not knowing her for 12 years got sick.
Mhm.
This was happening, difficult situations at work, all these things were piled on and were in this picture. So some of the picture I looked forward to and had manifested, I didn't know that when the picture that I manifested would be here, what would the whole picture look like? What would the rest of it look like? And so it's great to live in the place of, yes, I'm grateful. This is my dream life and this is what I need right now. Let me go drive real quick so I can make sure I get those coins or that project or whatever it is that you need to make it work. So I love that our guest talks about living in our truth and how to do that, with the social
Mm.
constructs, with trying to keep spiritual wellness at the forefront, which it is, whether we keep it there or not. So, how do you feel about us reading our definition and bringing her up on stage?
Let's do it. Let's do it, y'all. So today we are talking about spiritual wellness. And spiritual wellness, according to our Women Connected in Wisdom definition, it allows us to be in tune with our spiritual selves. This realm of wellness lets us find meaning in life events and define our individual purpose. I almost said divine, which is kind of fun there too. It can be defined through various factors, including religious faith, values, ethics, and morals. Regardless of whether you believe in a particular religious faith, there is always something to be learned about how you see yourself in this world.
Mm. Yes, yes. And let's go ahead and read her bio. I will read it, y'all, so we can have this conversation with her. Our guest today is Jennifer Spor, and Jennifer Spor is the CEO and founder of her namesake company, co author of two best selling books, and the host of Path of the Awakened Heart podcast. She is also a spiritual mentor, channel, and multidimensional healer for spiritual visionaries. Help us welcome to the stage, Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
Welcome, Jennifer.
Thanks for the warm welcome. And I have to say that music, it's a whole vibe. I love it.
Oh,
Good.
thank
Thank
you. Thank
you.
you. We've been talking about it for a couple of seasons,
Yeah, yeah,
and we sometimes we talk about things a lot before we implement them. And this one we were just like, let's go.
yeah.
So we were excited.
Glad you like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I was moving a little bit.
Yeah,
Love
good,
the vibe. Yeah.
good. I'm glad you said that. I always want our guests to dance with us, so we take
Right.
Yeah.
deep breaths, we dance, and we have a good conversation.
Right.
Yeah. So, Jennifer, we know a little bit about you. Can you share with our guests when you say ignite the flame of sovereignty and embodying your truth, what do you mean by those things?
Yeah. Sovereignty, right? That's defined a few different ways. But in this context, I define sovereignty as empowered freedom. living free, living empowered from a space of free will, right? And even though, I'm not sure if I want to open up or how much I want to go down the rabbit hole of what's going on in society, and especially in the US right now, right? But the US is a great example. Like, we say that we're living in a free country, and there is a lot to be grateful for here. There are a lot of things that we enjoy that a lot of other people in a lot of other countries do not have. But how free are we? Right? I mean, we live in a very compartmentalized way. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that you have to do this thing in order to achieve success, right?
Right.
Or you have to act this way in order to be liked and accepted by others. That there's a certain cookie cutter way that life has to be done. And
Mhm.
honestly, it's BS.
Mhm.
So that's really what I'm talking about. And so a lot of the clients that I work with, and a lot of what I talk and teach about, is really awakening that and igniting that, because it's not something that you learn, it's something you embody.
I love it. And I hear what you're saying. So what you're saying is that, hey, you might have a timeline for when you thought things were supposed to happen or how you thought you were supposed to get places, right? But
Hmm.
as an embodied and sovereign being, maybe you're here to do it a different way. Maybe,
Absolutely.
okay,
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely. And it's so important. I get often asked, what's the one piece of wisdom? What's the one thing you would want to share with everyone? And the number one thing that always comes forward for me, no
Mhm.
matter what conversation I'm having, is that when you feel that nudge to make a change, you feel guided to do something, listen to that, honor that, and answer that. And I also feel like, just because life can be so serious, and it's like, it's funny to think about, because I have been in this place on my personal journey, on my ascension journey. It's like, oftentimes we spend more time and energy focused on resisting what we're being called to than if we just did the thing. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
there's just so many reasons to, logical reasons, right? And faith-based reasons as well, to honor, whatever it is you're being guided to. And especially in the times that we're living in, because we are living amidst constructs that are crumbling, because their foundations were never fortified really to begin with, right? So
Mhm.
people that are here and alive during this time, and you're feeling called to do something that you don't see anyone else doing, don't run away from that. Run directly toward it, because you're one of the people that's here to help create something new, right?
Yes,
Something
yes.
that's higher consciousness, something that is sustainable and that contributes to both your individual and the collective well being of the planet,
Absolutely. I think it's worth just letting it sit for a second,
right? Yes.
because I get it. And I'm reading this book. I was just sharing with Christine this book that she gave me, Jennifer B 2.0, and it was talking about how people are not used to using their intuition. And I forget that sometimes, you know what I mean? Because I've been so used to looking at the rules that are given to me and then filtering them and then what are we going to do? Asking God what's supposed to happen. And then, this back and forth that, um, that I forget that people are still like, shh, no, be quiet. And like listening to the voices outside of them. So when you think about, where people are, instead of embodying their truth, where do you usually find your clients when they're struggling with that?
So my clients are either in a space of they're feeling the call and they've yet to answer it, or it's not the first rodeo for them, right? But they're in a season of their journey where they're being called to step up even more, right? In an even bigger way. And they're feeling stretched with
Mhm.
that expansion. And a lot of it in the journey and navigating all of that, and what I end up supporting clients with as well, is really about transcending the constructs, right? This is actually to I'll make a long story short, but to say that it was my own journey that inspired me to do this work many years ago, right? It's like I had taken the leap and
Mm.
left my career. I had checked off all the boxes that society tells us we need to be successful. I had no idea what the path was ahead, but I made the leap anyways. And it was during that very transitional time that I had worked with a lot of amazing therapists, coaches, healers, a lot of great people. But what I felt like I couldn't find support around at the time was someone who could not only relate to this tremendous shift in consciousness I had been experiencing, but actually how to integrate that into my day-to-day life, right? How was that impacting my relationships, how I liked to spend my time up to that point, and definitely my career. And then I realized, that was supposed to be me. It was missing, right? It was supposed to be me. And that's when I decided that I was going to dedicate my life, my path to this, because my business and my work just isn't business and work. It's like mission work. It's
Right.
something that is embedded within me, that it's in my DNA, it's a part of me. And I'll always be doing this.
Mm.
Mm.
Yes. And I think that, and I would love to encourage the entrepreneurs and the people who are thinking about stuff, or like Christine's Uber drivers, if you've done it and you're like, I'm done, right? When you get back to it, you're like, should I put it down? What should I do? Would you keep doing it? Then take a pause. Jennifer was talking about the stretch. Literally stretching is the one thing that has helped me wrap my mind around all the stretching and the transitions that's been going on. So yes, y'all stretch. Literally stretch your body and think about the stress of the and the frustrations of everything that you're going through with the stress of the transition. And that's what's helped me, you know what I mean? Let's stretch a little bit better into that position. And what I'll say too, while we're talking about stretching, y'all, don't just stretch once. When you stretch into a position, do it like 2 or 3 times, and you'll be able to stretch further. And that's what I've been working on like the projects and social media. Okay, maybe I didn't do a huge block of work, but the next time I get to that work block, do a little bit. Like stretch into it and ask for help when you need to ask for help and pivot. And that's been what's been helping me, through the growth and the transitions of everything.
Yeah.
Jennifer, what's been helping you during these times
Mhm.
that feel really charged? You know, I know a lot of my clients are struggling with 3 to 5 major things. And when you think about yourself and your clients, what's been really helping to bring peace and joy?
Yeah. Devotion.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Devotion to your own well being and how that translates into your day to day existence. So, devotion to foundational practices, right? Not just, yeah, affirmations can help, but I'm talking about embodiment practices. And even if you're just saying an affirmation, right? Not just saying it, but like feeling it in your body. Um, I'm teaching a class next week in my local area about the Akashic Records, which could be a whole other podcast episode. But to say that I just posted something today saying that, in connecting with your soul records, right, you don't connect with that part of yourself through your mind. You awaken that through your body, through
Mhm.
embodiment. And that is the number one key to not only making transitional shifts, right, but to being the oak tree in the ground through whatever storm comes, whatever uh, weather comes, right?
Hmm. Those deep roots. I love that. When
Yes.
Shannon was talking about stretching, I was thinking about dancing. I love stretching too. I did my centrics this morning, but
Mhm.
I often dance
I was gonna ask
to
you.
awaken that part of myself and then listen. Like I do it with myself. I do it with clients. Like I just think anything that we can get in our bodies and have our whole selves and our whole beings listen, and
Yes.
I think is really really valuable.
Yeah, I like to go on walks outside.
Mhm.
I like to sing sometimes. I love to meditate. I teach all of my clients to meditate in silence, actually, because um, guided meditations can be super helpful, and I certainly provide them and have done them myself. But learning how to be in stillness with your body, with your mind, learning how to quiet all aspects of your being and to just focus on your breath. For me, on my journey in the beginning, and I've been intentionally focused on this for like, I don't know, 15, 16 years now. But meditation was the number one gateway that really opened me up to myself at a soul level.
I love that.
How did you know that, "Oh, this is the day the soul door opened," right? And I wasn't just trying to not listen to the birds and not listen to the traffic and stuff.
This was the day that the soul door opened. You know,
Uh,
it's interesting. There wasn't any one kind of lightning bolt,
day.
moment. It was more of,
Okay.
it
Okay.
was more, it, oh, I'm sorry. I thought maybe we froze or something. It was
Mhm.
more that when I was in meditation, I would set a timer, and it would feel like when the timer would go off, it would feel like I had only been in meditation for a couple of minutes and it could
Mhm.
have been an hour.
Mhm.
That's when I knew,
Mhm.
okay, I'm in, you know?
Hmm. Mhm.
And then sometimes, whether it's God speaking to us or a guide or, a loved one or ourselves, right? Our highest selves, our soul. Um, I lost my train of thought for some reason. But
Re
oh, I know what I wanted to say about that. So sometimes we will just receive guidance, right?
mm,
And this is what a lot of people, I don't want to say that it's like a mistake, but a lot of people are kind of expecting that everything's just going to be dropped into their lap. And
mm,
this is part of what I'm saying about what it means to live embodied in your sovereignty as well. It's like if you want to communicate with God or a guide or yourself at a soul level, right?
mhm, mhm,
You got to ask for it. You got to set the intention.
mm,
You have to take the initiative, right? So while I did have lots of experiences where I felt like I was deeply connected with God, in meditation. There were lots of times that I would set an intention before going into meditation to connect with myself at a soul level about XYZ topic or whatever. And sure enough, every time I ask, I get an answer, right? And how we receive those answers is unique for each of us, like you might feel those answers in your body. You might actually hear something in your mind or even receive a sign or an answer externally. And that's really what it is. It's like when we're talking about transcending constructs, the number one way to really do that is to get connected with yourself, get deeply connected with yourself, and have a clear sense of the truth of who you are. And when you also begin to really anchor in feeling that truth in your body and what truth feels like for you, you can face anything. You can navigate anything, and you can use that anchor as the basis for navigating your entire existence, no
Mhm.
matter what it is, right? Because that's our other, I don't, just using the word mistake, right? It's like separation consciousness. We are
Mhm.
taught to operate as if everything is separate. Our business is separate. Our podcast is separate. Our relationships, our marriage, whatever, our friends are separate. No, it's all connected.
All interconnected.
Exactly.
It's all woven together, kind of like the 8 dimensions of wellness. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I think about that, and I think about how so much in our business world, or like for years, like people are like, you got to niche down, you got to do this, I always resist that. But I mean, we pretty much have with Women Connected Wisdom, but it's all like, it's so interwoven and connected. It's like
Mhm.
asking me to cut off a part of myself sometimes with,
I agree. Yeah, I used to struggle with that as well, and that's the thing too, is that again, we're conditioned to believe that, like, our physicality, right, whatever
Mhm.
is physical, whatever we can put into words or put into a compartment or put a label around, well, that's what's real. Well, what's even more real than that is frequency, and that's where everything in the physical reality starts from. So, yes, as someone who wants to make a difference in the world and you've dedicated your life to service, having a podcast and other things like that are definitely things you want to pursue, to look at pursuing in terms of whatever channel of communication aligns to you.
Mhm.
But it's more about the frequency behind that
Mhm.
you're emitting. And there are people out there, listeners, clients, who are in covenant with you at a soul level to work in your field. And your podcast or your emails or whatever it is that you're sharing are just serving as a channel to aid in igniting them. But they're going to find you no matter what because they're meant to.
I love that. I love that, and I feel that way about our Women Connected Wisdom community. I saw somebody's listening and gave us a thumbs up. If you want to leave us
Mhm.
a comment, leave us a comment and we'll share it with everybody if you're able to.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I feel that way. Like Jennifer, when we talk about our wins on this podcast, like it's some of our listeners and some of the things that have happened on the air are things that it
Mhm.
was a right time, right place moment, or right guest, right question that a listener had that they were afraid, and our guest was able to answer that question on the spot. Like, you look, there's been several moments we've had that we're like, okay, we could be done. I think we did what we were here to do. We're
Mhm.
still going, but like, there's been
Mhm.
some of those moments that were so in alignment and so beautiful. We were like, okay, right?
Yeah.
We just knew it.
Yeah.
It's got, like you said, it's got a different frequency. It's got a different vibe. It's got a different feeling to it.
Yeah. And there really is a lot that we don't have words for,
Hmm.
right?
Mhm.
And if you are feeling something that you can't find the words for, don't disregard that feeling.
Right. We say in Interplay, we have a phrase that says, you don't have to be able to articulate an experience to have had it.
Absolutely. I love that so much.
Right.
Yeah,
That it is. And sometimes some of the best things don't have words. They might have movement, they might have voice.
exactly.
I
Yes.
love when you said you sing. I love to sing my prayers in the morning in the labyrinth. My favorite story about that is one time I woke up a hawk. He was not very happy with me. He was nesting in my labyrinth, and I started singing my
Um,
prayers, and I startled him awake.
I
aw.
remember that.
It was pretty magical, but it always tickles me when I think about that. About, yes, you are singing at dawn, Christine.
Hmm. And I think it was right after you, had got back into town, right? So the bird was probably used
Yep.
to doing whatever they were doing, and
Right,
then, "Who is
right.
this?"
And like, who is this? Who is this? And what is she doing? It's not
Yeah.
even light out here yet.
It was your time, though. It's your labyrinth, yeah.
Welcome,
Mhm.
welcome. The other day, I was thinking, I was driving home last week. I had a dear friend that was in town from Michigan. She's one of the board members of Body Wisdom,
Mhm.
and she was in town for the Atlanta Film Festival, which shout out to Gwyneth Van Loren. I got to go to the Atlanta Film Festival for the first time, Atlanta
Mhm.
Women's Film Festival,
Okay.
and her film, it was a 6-minute film,
Hmm.
won an award for, I think it was best experimental film. It was
Wow.
phenomenal. I'd love to have
Congratulations.
Gwyneth come on and talk. It was just,
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't know, it's so inspiring. But
Mm.
we were talking about another film we had seen that was talking about owls and feminine wisdom
Mm.
and all. It was this really cool film that had touched all of us. And then on the way home, this owl, big old owl,
Wow.
flies right in front of me. Like it's, and I've had a lot of bird encounters. I always pay attention when I do, but it
Mhm.
was so magical that we were just together. There was a group of us that were together that were connecting. We were all this and really having these juicy conversations about feminine wisdom. And the owl symbolism came up. And then as I'm driving home, this big old owl just like flies in front of me. I was like, "Thank you, Spirit. Appreciate you." Um, yeah, I love stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to the Kennesaw Owls, Kennesaw State Owls. They had this thing they do, hooty hoo. We're not doing that. Okay, we're not doing the hooty hoo, but I'll be an owl, okay? I guess I'm a silent owl. That doesn't really work. We're talking about vocalizing stuff. Maybe I need to
Mhm.
work on it. Maybe this is you showing me I need to work on my vocalizing the hooty hoo
Mhm.
and all the wisdom. So,
Okay.
Jennifer, we talk about constructs. What I think about are stereotypes, right? Archetypes. I remember in high school, I learned about archetypes and this repeating messaging in movies and stuff, and I can't help but see it everywhere now, right? Are you talking about the same thing, or do you have like a specific way that you like to look at constructs and break them down for your clients?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. And it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, which
Mhm.
is the importance of developing a clear sense of self
Mhm.
and your truth. That is how you transcend constructs, right?
Mhm.
Our human aspects, we're really cute, and we like to, it's fun for us to, oh, there's a special formula to have a
Mhm.
solution for this or that,
Mhm.
and it's not sexy and glamorous, but that's it, right? It's simple and profound. It is get in touch very deeply with the truth of who you are and use that to navigate your life. Okay, so if you are being faced with a decision about something and you're going to say yes because you feel like you have to, that's a red flag. If you are saying yes because you feel like someone will be upset with you, that's a red flag. If you feel like you have to do something that is misaligned with your own values for the greater good, that is a red flag. So, digging a little bit deeper on what does it mean to have a clear sense of self, right? It is just being clear in who you are from the perspective of what are your greatest values, right? And what brings you the most joy? And what are your boundaries? A lot of people speak about boundaries in the context of having to protect themselves. And
Mhm.
there are some people that are in circumstances where that can be the case. I'm talking about establishing boundaries from a place of sovereignty, right? This is, and you brought up a term that I use as
Mhm.
well, which is non negotiables, right?
Right.
These are my non negotiables. These this is my foundation, and I do not waver on these no matter what. And when you stay in integrity with those non-negotiables, then through your yes, everything else around you falls into place. And does that mean on the quest of this journey, right, that some relationships are going to leave your life or you're going to end up changing careers? Absolutely. Been there, done that, like
Hello.
hand in the screen.
Yeah.
And did it feel easy at the time? Hell no, it didn't. But it was because I was still in a place of fear,
Mm-hmm.
of upsetting people, of fear, of what other people would think, of fear of, I've pretty much colored outside the lines my entire life. And so now here's another round, right? That's stretching me, you know,
Yes. Yes.
even even more. All of that's going to happen. And living a soul-led life and being embodied in your sovereignty and living from that space, it isn't about being without fear. It isn't about perfection. It isn't about, oh, well, I never have a down day or I never experience this. You still have all those experiences because you're human, and that's what it is to be human. That's what it means to be embodied in your divinity, is to be conscious as a soul, to and to live your life, in that, and to honor within that all of those human experiences. It's about being conscious to that and making a choice to move forward anyway in a way that honors the truth of who you are.
I love that, Jennifer. Now, I have a question. When you're talking about sovereignty and you're talking about your individual and personal truth, at Women Connected in Wisdom, we do a lot of collaboration, we do a lot of community work. How does that, just for our listeners that are thinking, that's awesome, but what if my sovereignty bumps up against somebody else's sovereignty? Like when you think about it in terms of collaboration and you think about it in terms of people that you're in relationship with in your community and in your neighborhoods and in your work and your world, will you speak to that a little?
Yeah, that really goes back to part of developing boundaries and being clear in your sense of self. Also includes who you want to collaborate with,
Right.
right? And what I'm feeling guided to mention something that is pretty common, especially when someone is kind of in the beginning of starting their purpose driven business, their mission work. They're like, yes to everybody, right? Yes, I'll take you on as a client. Yes, I will collaborate with you, because they want to help everybody. And of course, naturally, we want to help everybody. But you're more of a help to other people and in making a difference in the world when you're clear and fortified in where you stand, because then you're emitting a frequency and attracting, whether it's clients or people to collaborate with, that are already aligned with you.
I love that. If we have somebody listening that's new to this, like they could be, they're like, okay, what are you talking about frequency? What are you talking about? How would you describe that to them? Like
Yeah. So,
I've been playing around with this for 30 plus years, so I have a sense of it that's deep within myself, but I don't know if I could articulate it to somebody else. Can you
yeah.
articulate it to our listeners?
Yeah. So everything is energy.
Mhm.
Uh, even if you've gone to church, right, or you believe in a higher power, which I'm guessing at least most of the people that listen to this podcast believe in a higher power, right?
Right.
um your soul is eternal, right? Your soul in of itself is a consciousness, is a frequency that you can't see,
Mhm.
but you can sure feel it.
Mm.
It's just like love, right? A lot of people confuse love as being an emotion. And yes, it can present itself emotionally, but love is a frequency. And think about a moment, which we've all had at least one, where you feel unconditional love, not from a codependent place, but from a true, just like, no matter what, I love this person, I love this animal, I love this world, I love the mission work I'm doing, and you love it unconditionally. That's another example of a frequency.
Mhm.
You feel it. And so, whatever it is that your truth is, what your values are, what you stand for, that emits a frequency. Everything that you do and who you are and who you be emits a frequency.
Mhm.
Mm,
And the
thank
way
you.
I Yes, thank you, Jennifer. And I had it, and thank you for saying that too about love, because I've been working on the two words, and this is what I was about to bring up, heart math, right? In heart math, our guest expert told us to ground two words into our heart when we put our hands over our heart to re-ground our heartbeat, right? And so I've been thinking a lot about love and gratitude. Even if I don't have a new word that day, love and gratitude is something that Shannon every day will probably want in her life, right? So love and gratitude. And when I've been having conversations over this transition, I have been intentional about being authentic, right? And coming from love. So I love what you said about how love is a frequency. So even if I'm having a conversation that might make somebody uncomfortable, we're talking about space or moving something from somebody that's deceased and how they might feel about it, whatever it is, we can have a difficult conversation and still be coming from love.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I was gonna why the reason I was gonna bring up heart math again is for that rhythm, right? Our heart has a beat and our body emits an electronic wave, right? So if somebody's stuck on vibes, that's the first thing I think about. And I know you talked about physicality and how it's easier for us to think about that than something like love. But I think that in the ways that we can measure it right now, that is how it would show up, right? It would show up in that
Absolutely.
in that EKG, in that
Yep.
um, in those ways that we measure it. And that's how people genuinely feel our personality and our spirit and stuff, right? I heard this video that talked about how authenticity is the highest vibe, right? So that's a certain wavelength. And so that's what I think about. And even having divine women all around me with all of our collaboration, it has been those difficult conversations that has made it so that we can stay in the same spaces. My creative friends who show up hours late to their events that I'm managing, and it's like it's either a difficult conversation or a recalibration of my expectations. I had to realize when my friend was late to a music release, why did you think the artist was going to be on time? Artists are late. Like that's why she has you here. You know what I mean? And that has helped me honor my friend's divine while still being true to my own. Like, hey, this is what I need, and put it on the table. What do you think? Let's have a conversation about it and see how it goes. And I think maybe all but one genuine time maybe somebody got up from the table, was like, nope, you're a fraud, and they left. And any other time it's worked out, and all the people who were here can vouch that I'm not a fraud, and everything's okay. And sometimes it just doesn't align, or it's not the right season. um but that's what I do for my divine friends when I feel like it might be clashing a little bit or not on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what you said about the heart, I wanted to mention the heart is the seat of the soul,
Mm,
Mm,
right? So whether that's coming through as heart math
yeah.
or it's coming through, like I have a living codex that I teach people in terms of literally the how to behind how to create and be embodied in who you are.
Beautiful.
I talk about the golden heart in there. So my point being, whether it's the golden heart or it's expressed as heart math,
Mhm.
right? Everybody has a special, unique flavor of what
Mm,
they're here to create and express in the world that resonates with those who are in covenant to work in their field, right? Who vibe with them.
Mhm.
That's why it's so important for us to honor those nudges and how we're being guided to create and how we're being called to show up in the world.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's so much bigger than just us.
Yeah. And y'all, with my phone being blacked out right now, and I'm like, "Oh, no, I had so much content I meant to put out," right? And I'm thinking about when this happened 2 years ago when my godson was turning
Oh,
1, it
you
was his
for
birthday. Am I here? Okay. Thinking about 2
you're back.
years ago when the same thing happened. I'm back? Okay. Maybe I should start
Mhm.
over. Was I frozen for a long time?
You
I'll
just kinda
restart.
cut in and out. Start over.
Okay. Okay. So I was telling y'all about my blacked out phone right now, right? I woke up yesterday, sent like a text message or two, picked it up, and it's black. And I was thinking about all the content I wanted to put out. And I have years of content that is still not out, right? But it reminded me of 2 years ago when my godson turned 1 and I was at his party, bummed because I didn't have a phone, thinking about all the content. But did you put it out? Somebody needs to see the content. Somebody needs to hear your voice the way that you do it, you know. So AI is great, but exactly what you're talking about is what I think about. You know, the imperfect way that you would have said it by yourself still needs to be out. It's not always about how fast AI can put stuff together. So I would love for that to encourage somebody who is sitting on content, put it out. You know, don't risk losing it if it's been a really long time, and don't worry about being perfect. Like Jennifer said, it's not about perfection. Um,
Mhm.
and I had never thought about it, Jennifer, being in covenant. You know, I usually think about that as a marriage, right? But I do agree with you that if I am led to do these things, God said everybody needs to hear about the 8 dimensions of wellness, then the people who were supposed to come are already on that list. You know, that
Yes.
makes so much sense.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, my pleasure. I could talk
Hmm.
about this stuff like 24/7.
Uh,
Right?
and that's why we do what we do.
So,
Exactly.
Jennifer, before we move to our wisdom in action, which we do
Yes.
at every show, I want to ask you because I talk about this with my friends and with my clients, but
Yeah.
what do you advise when your clients need a reset? Like when you're out of alignment or feeling ungrounded or out of balance, like what do you advise to get rooted and be your best frequency?
Yeah, yeah. You know, the first thing that I do for myself and also that I advise clients around is to look at your foundation, look at where there are cracks, right? Are you not creating enough space for yourself? You know, whatever those daily embodiment practices are for you, but not just embodiment practices, right? It's like, where are you allowing space for yourself to create? And even just space for yourself to be still. Like, that's one of the biggest and grandest illusions of all in our society is
Mm,
that in order to receive, you have to do.
Mhm.
And that illusion bleeds into the deepest parts of our being. So, going
mhm,
back to what I was saying earlier about learning how to meditate, even if it is only 10 or 15 minutes a day in silence, in stillness, teach yourself how to get comfortable with being with yourself, right? Still. So the first thing I do is advise people to look at where are the cracks, right, in your foundation. And then from addressing those cracks in your foundation and creating space for yourself to be in stillness and to embody yourself at a deeper level, then the answers around what is causing you to feel discontent come, right? Because what happens too a lot, and at this point, having been in my own business and been doing my own work for so many years, we're not meant to hang out our sign and then that's what we do for the rest of our lives. We are evolutionary beings. And so, what happens very commonly, I've been there and a lot of my clients are there too, is that we're slow to respond to whatever it is we're being called to change. whether it's initially leaving that career to create your own path, or you're already doing your thing, right? But you're being called to something greater. That's one of the biggest things that I see that is the root cause of the discontent.
Mm.
It's that you're not answering the call, you're not responding, right, to what it is you're being called to. And yeah, making certain changes in your life can't all happen in a day. Some of them can, right? Not all of them can. But what matters is that is your anchored devotion not just to your practices, not just to your mission work or your career, but your anchored devotion to how you are living in every moment of every day of your life and how that aligns with the truth of who you are.
Mm, I love that. When you say it, what I always think about is I think about I mean, I just got a flash of multitude of women's circles I've sat in, but we always call it remembering, right?
Yeah.
Remembering who you are,
Yes.
remembering your why, remembering how you walk in this world, that remembering piece,
Yes. You're
uh,
here to remember. You're
right?
here to remember. Yes.
I love that. I
Yep.
love that. Oh my goodness. I could
Mm.
talk about this forever.
Mhm. I mean, I think it's really also the foundation of what we do. Like I think about
Oh,
8 dimensions of wellness.
mhm,
Why? Because people deserve to be healed. And when you're
mhm,
healed and working towards that, because things keep happening, right? Now we can do everything else. Now we can show up fully. But if we don't work on the wellness, we don't work on the healing, we're just
mhm,
in the stuff, in the murkiness, and can't live there.
mhm.
No.
No.
Can visit there, but don't unpack and stay.
Right.
Right?
And I mean,
Right.
yeah, yeah, no, we've talked about pity parties, and that's like, Jennifer, those are like intentional. One of our guests talked about like intentional little sessions of this is not
Mhm,
okay, I'm not okay, get it out.
Yeah.
And then we talk about processing things like the processing table. So yeah, we can visit, but let's not live there. I know Christine asked you earlier what you've done that's worked, but what are you specifically doing this week, Jennifer, for yourself, for your spiritual wellness?
Oh my gosh. So I spend about 90 minutes a day, plus whatever movement I do for the day. So if it's like taking a walk
Mhm,
outside or whatever, but I meditate in
mhm,
stillness 7 days a week, 365 days a year, no matter where I'm at or what I'm doing, right? Like that's my non negotiable. And right now I have embodiment practices. So the foundation of the practices that I cultivate every day stay the same. The foundation stays the same, but the nature of them change
mhm,
based upon whatever season I'm in,
mhm.
right?
Yes,
So right now I am cultivating an even more deeply anchored state of living like as the covenant fulfilled now, or
understood.
living in a state of completion now. So that's another um, illusion that we're all conditioned around, is the illusion of waiting.
Mm,
Okay, waiting in of itself is an inversion, and there's many like layers or evolutions to it. So that's one of the things that for me right now, I'm just delving into that even more deeply as the creator of my own reality, right? This
mhm.
is beyond manifesting and law of attraction. This is divine creatorship. This goes back to the devotion that I'm talking about, right? Is not only what are you focused on, but how does that translate into every minute of your day?
mhm.
I hear what you're saying. So when you say inversion, is it like the sign that I saw and it said, there is no way to peace, peace is the way? Like, instead of thinking that you're gonna go find it and eventually run into it, you have to operate from peace and then
Right.
you will
It's a
find
state of being, right?
right.
It's an embodiment. And that's like, so a good example of the illusion of waiting is, and it's even taught this way in a lot of the personal development industry. And I've been in that space of shifting that as well. And like I said,
Absolutely.
there are just more and more layers to it. But
Yes.
it's like a lot of even the way that it's taught as far as creating your own reality is, well, you're calling this in, you're calling that in, well, you're
Hmm.
calling something in from outside of you. Well, guess what? It's not outside of you, it's already within you,
Hmm.
within your soul. What is covenant for you is already done. It's
Right.
already complete in the ethers. And it's just a matter of you stepping into it. And so
Yes.
learning how to close that gap with yourself, right?
And that right there, y'all, is how what I think about when I think about the soul led life. The gap between, and this is a trigger warning, right? A gap between three lynchings to I'm a millionaire already and the passive income is set up and I'm good for generations. Like that gap of everything's okay, now in the moment, and you don't have to wait for it so that you can attract the right things. That's where I think about my personal soul lit life and staying anchored in all the chaos that we're talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know we are at time, but I know we're still doing wisdom in action.
Shannon,
Christine,
what's your wisdom in action?
I was gonna ask you if you wanted me to go first or not. So I
I just
have
heard yours. I'm curious if I got it. I
oh,
heard you say it, but I'm curious what you're going to say.
and it's funny because I have we talked about a lot with Jennifer, and this was good. I have hashtag be still.
Mm,
What were you gonna say?
mm. I heard you say hashtag close the gap, and I watched you do it embodied. Like I watched you
Mm.
go, "Vroom."
Mhm. 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 I'll do that too. I say hashtag be still and close the gap. And y'all, I don't know if it's I don't know if I would say maybe it is the money too. Maybe I could claim it a little bit more, like already being there, because I definitely feel led to it, in life. So I believe it's mine, like you're saying, it's already done. But it's also like the just the different positions. You know what I mean? Like already it's the 6, 7, 8 figure business owner. It's the business owner with teams set up already that I'm trying to close the gap between like how I think about it because I'm operating now and then calling it in. I can receive that. Thank you for that. What about yours?
Well, mine was hashtag listen
Mm,
because I've been hearing that I need to listen more, and
okay.
I love to argue, Jennifer. Like when you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. Um,
Mhm,
I'm pretty good about following my intuition, but I like to fuss a little bit about it first. And
mhm.
I always say, all right, spirit, I
Yeah.
might be slow, but I'm not dumb. Can you
Right.
please just give it to me very clearly 3 times so I
Mm,
know it's mine?
mm.
Mhm.
And so and of course, sometimes the first one or two, I'm just arguing. I'm like, are you sure? Like, and then it'll come a
Yeah.
second. Are you really, really sure?
I argue too. I be arguing.
I know I'm just a little stubborn sometimes. So
Mhm.
I'm going to listen. And
Okay.
I wrote down, let's see, there was something else. I wrote down a couple of things,
Mhm.
but I think I'm just going to stick with listen because I think I
Yeah.
very definitely um, need to be listening. So,
Yeah. I love it. Integrate the shifts, something I have, asterisk by. I like that. How do you
mm,
integrate it? Because it is a huge, the shift that you were talking about is huge and it does affect different things. And people might be on the last page of who you are, but let me reintroduce myself. So this has been amazing. Jennifer,
it's been
thank you
really
so
good.
much. Yeah.
Jennifer, tell our listeners before we close episode 205, tell our
Mm.
listeners where they can find you.
Mhm.
And we will put it all in the show notes, but go ahead and give it a shout out if they're listening.
Yeah, you know what? The best place to find me is my website, which is jenniferspor.com. That's JenniferSpor for those who are listening and don't have show notes or anything in front of them. You can find my podcast there. You can find the different ways available to work with me there. And I also have several different free resources. Like specifically, there is a free meditation under my free resources drop down about highest destiny. That is like a 25-minute or so guided meditation. So if you're in a space, a lot of what we were talking about today around either being called to the next evolution of your work, or you're just feeling that initial call to make the leap, that guided meditation can help provide you with clarity around what your next steps are. And what's great is that you can listen to it again and again, and you'll get new insights
I've
every
already
time.
signed up.
Okay.
I like when, we always look at our guest website, like at the day of, and I
Yeah.
was like, ooh, free med, that looks great.
And then the codex that I was talking about earlier, it's the golden compass of sovereign remembrance and divinity embodied. That is, I was referencing the golden heart and literally the how to of how to anchor into your physical body what you're being called to. That is under the work with me drop down.
Yep.
And it's really accessible. It's a very low investment, and it's another one of those things where you can read it. I have a client who actually recorded all of the words in her own voice so she could feel her own
Wow.
frequency when she
Ooh,
was
that's
listening to it.
beautiful.
So it really truly is a compass. So
Mhm.
that's something else that I know that has helped a lot of people too. So yeah, and then
Can
social
I
media.
also just tell you that your website is beautiful?
That's gorgeous.
Oh,
We
thank
look at a
you.
lot of websites, and I
Very
want to tell you your website's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I'm
So,
honored too. Yes, thank
yeah,
you. I love that.
it really is. So, thank you so much for this conversation today. We are so grateful to be connected, and thank you for being part of the Women Connected in Wisdom. Now you're part of
Likewise.
our lexicon. We appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise. It was really an honor to be on with both of you and to have this conversation, and I hope whoever's listening has, received something from it.
Yes, me too.
Absolutely.
Thank
And
you so
like we said, we'll put all your info in the show notes so folks can find you and work with you. And yeah, and thank you for saying that about the Golden Codex, because I just clicked on it and that's exciting. That's a great price for what you're offering. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. I mean, it's a compass, thus
Yeah. Oh,
the name.
all
But yeah,
right.
really, yeah, absolutely. Thanks again.
We
I
look
really
forward to
appreciate
more.
it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, so good. You know it's good
Yes.
when we go over.
I
Like
know, I know.
we're pretty Stati's gonna be like, woo,
You are really.
they went over.
Thank you, Sati. I'm sorry. But, yeah, after 205 episodes, maybe, like, 4 of them,
Right?
maybe
Maybe
4,
4 of them have gone over.
maybe
So
5.
just so
Yeah,
you know,
but yeah.
Jennifer, like,
Yeah,
right? Top
yeah.
notch.
So,
Woo, gave me a lot to think about. I love it.
mm, yeah, just remembrance, like, it's
Right.
okay. All this is going on, and
I have
it'll
to
be
say,
yeah.
I meant to say this when Jennifer's on being
What's up?
irreverent, because when she was talking about where the cracks in your foundation, I
Yeah.
got this image. Have you seen there's a commercial where they do the spray foam and
Yeah.
it lifts the concrete?
No, I haven't seen it.
That was what the image that came in. I was like,
Mm. Cracks in your foundation?
cracks in your foundation.
Mm. That sounds like air. It's a lot of
Yeah,
stuff under there, yeah.
it was good. But well, friend, anything we need to say before closing out episode 205?
I don't think so. I don't think so. What about you?
No, I'm
Okay.
just grateful to be here. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I'll give a shout out. We've said it a couple of times, but
Mhm.
volume 2, Women Connected in Wisdom, stories and resources rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness. The audiobook
Yes.
is coming out this month.
Good. Ooh.
We are whoop, 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 whoop. We'll let
Yeah.
you know on the date and where you can find it.
Mhm.
But coming soon to your
Yeah.
ears.
Yeah. Y'all be tapped in on your platform that you listen to us, and, um, I think about these ladies' stories from 1 and volume 2 all the time.
All
So
of them,
if you
right?
haven't read it, you didn't have time, this will help you have time, you can
Right.
listen to us, it's amazing.
And I would just encourage folks to subscribe on our YouTube. That helps us out. Leave us a review,
Mhm.
but also subscribe to our guest. Like we follow a lot of our guests and they are always putting out incredible content.
Yeah, they are.
And a lot of it is just, I don't know, it enriches my life. Like,
Mhm.
so I encourage all our listeners, like,
I'm
get
talking about
connected.
down
Get
to the lip
connected.
gloss,
Right?
like, and the colors that I wear. Like, I've been wearing matte lip gloss since I was moving in, and she was talking about matte. Like, I'm telling you, okay?
I
And
love it. I
and
love it.
what else were you saying? Anything? I feel like I cut you off.
No, we're good.
Okay.
We're
Okay,
good.
so
I
thank you
think we
for that.
close it out.
Let's
Episode
close it, y'all.
205.
Thank you for being here, y'all. We'll be here live at 5 Eastern Standard Time next week. In the meantime, be well, be wise, be whole. Peace.